Do you know of a stellar leader or an outstanding organization that deserves a proper shout-out? Nominate them for IBJ's awards. From 40 in their 40s and Women of Influence to Nonprofit and Healthcare Excellence Awards, we're celebrating rising stars, seasoned leaders, and organizations making a difference. Discover which programs are accepting nominations now at ibj.com/nominate.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. I'm Alex Braun. Governor Mike Braun today announced the creation of Power Up Indiana, an initiative designed to incentivize Hoosier employers to invest within through training and promoting existing employees. Using $10 million appropriated by the Indiana General Assembly, Secretary of Commerce David Adams says the program will provide grants to employers of all sizes and industries to offer employee training.
This is really focused on the incumbent workforce. Think about the 3.5 million working Hoosiers, and how do we help employers for those high-value, high-wage jobs that they're looking to see, doing it through the existing workforce and providing skilling programs to help support them.
Qualified employers could receive training reimbursement grants of up to $5,000 per employee trained and up to $50,000 per employer annually. Eli Lilly Company has announced plans to build a $5 billion manufacturing plant near Richmond, Virginia, as part of its commitment to add U.S. manufacturing sites through a $27 billion reshoring investment. The new facility is the first of 4 new manufacturing locations Lilly plans to announce this year. The company said the new plant would create more than 650 jobs in Virginia for engineers, scientists, operations personnel, and lab technicians, as well as 1,800 construction jobs. The Virginia plant is expected to be completed within 5 years. Bethel University has received a $200,000 matching grant from a local foundation to renovate its nursing, biology, and chemistry labs, improvements that are expected to expand the capacity of its nursing program by more than 60%. Renovation plans include the purchase of new nursing simulation models, new lab equipment, and upgraded classroom technology on the Mishawaka campus. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
6 students are participating in the first U.S. Department of Labor registered apprenticeship program in early childhood education in Evansville. Ivy Tech Community College's Evansville campus is working with Evansville-based Carver Community Organization on the initiative to expand access to post-secondary education and build a stronger early childhood education workforce. Deanna Clayton is Carver's executive director.
It's really hard to find experienced early childhood educators with experience and education. So the apprenticeship program will allow the students to receive high quality training and culturally diverse training to help with the ongoing diverse clientele that we all serve, as well as getting ahead on the newest, latest, and greatest research on early childhood education.
Upon completion of the program, the apprentices will receive several high-quality credentials, including a classroom support specialist micro-credential, a child development associate certificate from the Council for Professional Recognition, an Ivy Tech Early Childhood Child Development Associate certificate in early childhood education, and a U.S. Department of Labor Journey Person certificate. The Indiana Department of Transportation is preparing for the next step in the Mid-States Corridor project in Du Bois County. The agency is nearing completion of its screening of alternatives report and will hold a public information meeting on October 22nd to share the report's findings and gather public input. The Mid-States Corridor is a new highway being designed to connect I-64 to I-69 through Spencer, Du Bois, and Martin counties, with the goal of improving regional connectivity in southern Indiana. The project team is in the midst of a Tier 2 study of what it calls Section 2, which would extend from Interstate 64 near Huntingburg and Jasper to State Road 56 at Hayesville in Du Bois County. That study is slated for completion in 2027, and INDOT says construction is expected to begin shortly after that. The Indiana Department of Correction plans to ask for $15.8 billion in state funding to prepare an Indiana correctional facility to house immigration detainees. The DOC is expected to make the funding request at a state budget committee meeting tomorrow morning at Indiana State University in Terre Haute, according to an agenda for the meeting. Last month, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that the Trump administration would partner with Indiana Governor Mike Braun to secure about 1,000 beds at the Miami Correctional Facility for immigration and customs enforcement detainees. The DOC's request says the agency needs the state funding in order to prepare the correctional facility. The 3,200-bed facility is about 70 miles north of Indianapolis in Bunker Hill on the campus of Grissom Air Force Reserve Base. Indiana Fever legend Tamika Catchings is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Braun for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
Get a behind-the-scenes look at Indiana's most influential leaders. On Business and Beyond, we go beyond titles and resumes to explore the personal stories, pivotal moments, and hard-won lessons that shape Hoosier leadership. Hear from the people driving Indiana forward in their own words. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcast or at ibjpodcasts.com.
The IBJ Media Podcast Network is the soundtrack of a growing state. Indiana is on the move, and you can hear it happening on the IBJ Media Podcast Network. We bring you the voices at the center of our economy, our courts, our companies, and our communities. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation that's building Indiana's future. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcasts.com.